So, Chris, here we are with part two in our series, and this time we're looking at some of the big takeaways from GCC 2025 in Calgary. Chris, over to you first. What were your big moments from across the week?
So I found it really interesting that there were a couple of sessions on entrepreneurship center consolidation, collaborate, taking a bit further than just collaborating, but actually consolidating. So sharing resources, sharing teams, sharing physical spaces in some cases, and that was really interesting because that's aligns a lot with the work that we're doing at Stardian in parts of Europe. So that was really interesting. And the other thing that really stood out for me was the rise in interest in entrepreneurship through acquisition. So obviously we see a lot of that in social media nowadays, buying your local laundromat and turn it into business. But this was different. I first heard of this at GCC in Las Vegas in 2022. Back then it was a novelty, but now we had multiple sessions in at GCC 2025 and individual universities explaining that they actually have opened multiple courses running in parallel because there's such high demand. So that was two of the big things that really stood out for me.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, let's jump into the videos and see what we heard from our interviewees.
Okay, so here we are at GCEC in Calgary. Super excited to meet you. And what has been your biggest takeaway so far?
I think my biggest takeaway, I always love coming together with others in this community, learning from people. There's such a community of sharing. It's been really inspiring, so I'm excited to bring it all back to my campus.
Fantastic. And is there a particular session that has inspired you to take a particular project tool back?
There was one session that Northeastern had taught about student-led ecosystems on campus and how to pull student groups into leadership on campus. And so I thought that that was really amazing. I'm definitely going to learn from that.
Think more specifically is to see our colleagues in North America, the way they work, what they're trying to achieve, what they're trying to do, because their centers, for better and worse, are much bigger than ours. They have better resources or bigger resources and try to learn from one another.
I'd say that there is limited visibility into the intersection of like innovation and entrepreneurship and how you can build programming around that. I think about my own expertise as it pertains to commercializing research and how we still don't really know how to do that through entrepreneurship centers through intentional programming.
If there's any trends, anything you're picking up in 2025 that's different to the previous ones you've been to?
There's a couple of things, yeah. The number of AI sessions,
Mm.
obviously huge, but I think the biggest kind of shift is like the struggles that we're feeling a little bit in higher education. Like we're definitely feeling it in the UK of like where are our resources coming from for the next few years, how much senior buy-in there is for entrepreneurship, where it sits in the priority list for universities. But that's definitely been felt by the US universities and like this side of the pond as well. That actually that's clearly a global problem, not just a UK centered thing. So it's been nice to see sessions where centers have been thinking about how we're going to be scrappy and how we're going to figure out what we're going to do about that and not waiting for resources necessarily to come to them, but like new ways of thinking about how they're going to get funding, whether they're going to become revenue generating in and of themselves to like help fund their centers and stuff. I think there's a very entrepreneurial attitude.
Yeah, so for me, it was interesting because Rui mentioned it there that one of the unique things of going to GCC is that we usually see a lot of North American colleges and universities that have significantly more resources. They're doing really great things. The alumni donor relationship is very different in the US and North America than it is in the UK and parts of Europe. So while that's usually quite common as we see that, what was interesting and to contrast that with what Rachel's saying, which I know Rachel and I have been doing quite a few of these, is that we're actually seeing that actually changing a little bit. So we see North American universities talking about, consolidating, as I mentioned, having to find maybe potentially revenue generating opportunities. So they're starting to feel the pinch a little bit there too. And just in terms of like key trends and highlights to sort of call it out, I did look back at the most popular sessions to see which ones were, the highest registered sessions on the app. And they were innovation challenges as revenue engines. That was from the University of Waterloo. I think that was the most popular.
Yeah,
The second one was entrepreneurship at warp speed, teaching in the age of AI. And the third one was the new makers, entrepreneurship through no code and AI coding. So that gives you a taste of where people are thinking and what they're going for to conferences like this to hear more about.
absolutely, Chris. You're right. And for me, given our work at Cambio, hot topics are obviously technology and AI, and again, how they enable a lot of this work to grow. And then sustainability, whether with a small s or a big S. So that's financial sustainability, or frankly, what's the impact on the communities and planet around the work they're doing. So as a call to action, guys, I'd love to see you commenting in the chat if you were there. What did you enjoy? If you weren't there, would you come next year? What's your thinking? What did you find valuable? Because this is a global conversation.